Two things before we start. One, I want to say that these are just allegations. I'm going to do my best to present as much as I can of both sides. So obviously this will include Kyle's statements and what his statements are about. I'll do my best to go in chronological order so it doesn't get too confusing. Last week I put out a video about Kyle David Hall's last stream. There were comments about this whole thing, and I just want to state, I have already stated it, but I just want to reiterate. That video was edited, recorded and everything before I found out about these allegations. I wasn't ignoring them, just to be clear. Also, with the current information, there was one tweet that I read that made me hesitant to make the video. And it said, sorry, another thing to be mindful about in the Kyle David Hall situation. Please be mindful that even though you want to know what happened at the end of the day, we're just people on the sidelines and real people have experienced this. Do not rush statements out. And to add to this, the statement that I think they're referring to, as of recording at least, isn't out. So if/when that comes out, there'll either be a second video or there'll be a pinned comment with that statement and context. If the timestamps on these are confusing, it's because I live in Australia. Kyle starts off by saying, hey guys, I'm not sure what's being DM'd to some of you about a past relationship. I'm a bit out of the loop on my own personal matter. I do want to say me and this person have mutually heard and accepted how things went and what went wrong. I was left on red and a few days later they started messaging people on Twitter about the situation, apparently to get quote unquote all my fans as her friends. What upsets me is that these are minors being brought into a personal situation where I was free and open to continue our conversation at any time. Doesn't make me any more upset that this is now public. I only ever cared and still care that she had a space to be heard, and I did everything to be that for her many times. I wish I could know what is being said about me to some of you guys, but if that's not part of her healing process, I get that too. Someone responded to that and said, do you mind if I DM you something here that has kind of something to do with the situation? In brackets, it's nothing bad, it's just clarifying something. To which Kyle said, you're free to say it here, I'm trying to stay out of DMs about this. To which they responded and said, I didn't DM people about the situation since nobody knew specifically what was going on. I just told people what I think happened. Didn't say anything bad or anything. I was kind of telling people what Ali said and was trying to assume what happened since everybody started hating on you all of a sudden. Of course, it's not my business or anybody's business since it's your personal life, and that's why I didn't deep dive into anything or say anything publicly since it's not my business. I was really confused, so I didn't tell people anything about what happened because, as I said, I didn't know what happened. So I was just assuming what happened, but nothing bad, and I wasn't talking badly about anybody. I was more so trying to understand what even happened in the first place. They elaborated on this by saying, also, the things people said about you in DMs were that you were really manipulative and push you towards since one person was tweeting about how bad of a person you are, that's basically all I got out of that person. They just said you were really manipulative. Obviously, I can't say if this is true or not, it's just what someone else had said, and it's not my place to find out if it is or not. Kyle responded and said, I don't doubt that. I was not a great person throughout the relationship, and I acknowledge my mistakes and hope to learn and grow from them. She at the time heard me out and learned what I was learning through therapy to help with many issues like that. I'll respond to another message in a second. Someone replied and said, oh yes, someone told me in DMs that Kyle was manipulative and pressured her into stuff. Kyle replied and said, so this is an absolute no. I made mistakes in the relationship and was not good, but never pressured her to do stuff. I even told her right off the bat I'm uncomfortable with initiating things. When it comes to that, she said, I have to be comfortable with it as the man. Her person replied back and said, yeah, someone told me you were pressuring her into stuff when I asked what was happening, to which he once again said, this is absolutely untrue. Someone else said, I just know some people said they quote unquote found stuff out and told lots of us to not support you any longer. Nobody would specify or provide context and would refuse to give proof or would leave people on red. All of us are out of the loop on this situation and most of us don't understand either. This isn't my place to speak on the situation as I don't understand what's going on either. I just thought I'd share my views and experience on what I've experienced to help understand better. Someone asked what's happening and they were confused. Someone responded and said, TLDR is people started saying Kyle's a shitty person on Twitter with no explanation. Ali came in here and said stuff with a past partner has been dealt with and now Kyle's kind of talking about it. Kyle goes on to say, the only situation that could be misrepresented was when she told me I have to be comfortable with initiating things because I'm the man. After I said I do not feel comfortable doing so, was hate to get personal, but it's unfortunately out of my hands. After we did stuff with her, I took her at her word, but she was not ready, so I immediately gave her space as to not make her feel uncomfortable in doing so, because it's okay not to do things. Carl then responded to another message. The original message was deleted. He said, also absolutely untrue. I have never and would never. This is what happens when confusion about why we quote unquote hate someone spreads around without knowledge. It then goes on to say, no one brought this to my attention before it blew up like this, so people are only hearing one side and it goes down like a game of telephone. He also further elaborates 4 minutes later saying, I hate to get personal, but the person DMing some of you guys never saw me as a human, only as my past online life as a quote unquote creator. Jill has introduced me to her friends as Carl David Hall, the YouTuber, and many of our first arguments were about how I don't post her or tag her on my pages. She never wanted to meet my family, only cared when random people online knew. She would always ask what famous people saw my story about her, and now she's going after what she believes makes me, which is you guys. 6 minutes after that, he says, I genuinely don't care if people online know I'm not perfect and make shitty mistakes. I only care and made sure to talk it through with the people involved and make sure they knew they are heard. It's out of my hands how it goes to this point. I'm healing through therapy and make sure to learn from my mistakes and grow from them. I can't take anything away I've messed up on. I can only acknowledge my issues and correct them moving forward. He further elaborates again by saying, I believe that's all I have to say about the situation. I know this won't be the end because this is not about coping or spreading awareness. This is strictly to take what she believes makes me who I am, which is my past in making videos. In her words, I'm just a quote unquote micro-influencer, nothing more. Someone said, there's one thing I'm confused about and I don't want to start another thing, but I heard that you cheated. He responded and said, understood. I don't know how personal I want to take this, but I did not cheat. I was in the hospital for reasons I can get into if needed, and that person was not there in the way I needed while recovering. I gave a few days to see if they cared and heard nothing. At that point I assumed she wanted nothing to do with me, and I did move on to someone who was supporting me through a time I needed. Me and the person who claimed I cheated were never dating, due to them saying they were not ready to date. I was loyal to them until I didn't hear back. Next I want to read another statement because this one also ties into another situation. Because what I've mentioned so far is like the first part, but there's actually 2. Now the unfortunate thing about this is I got these screenshots off Twitter. So I don't know when they were posted. I don't know if they were posted after this or if they were posted after this when they were exactly posted, but I'm going to read it anyway. Carl says, I understand that I've hurt a lot of people with my actions and that is what I care about. I do not mind who knows, just that people involved know I hear them and will continue to make sure I do not make certain careless mistakes and take responsibility for what I've done. I'm taking time to extend my professional help and it has put into perspective what I need to do moving forward. This is not an excuse, just the steps I'm taking to become better. I'm not ignoring any issues in my personal life and I'm taking time to correct myself. I can't take back how I've been. If this sounds repetitive, it's just because I genuinely mean it when I say it. I'm sorry to the individuals that have been hurt and felt uncomfortable from my own actions. I was wrong to get blackout drunk and group cool fans in general, especially with one being a minor, which we'll get to. I should have known better prior. I'm sorry I couldn't be better. I plan to still not be on social media as I was before. It has been good in my experience of getting better and working on the roots of why I'm not happy with who I am. It wasn't smart of me to use Twitter and social media as my outlet. I apologize for putting such heavy and scary topics out in public like that. I own my mistakes and understand I need to get better, and that is what I'll continue to do. The minor who was in the call has tweeted about this, and I want to talk about what they've said. Clarify, the minor is not the person that they dated, just clarify this is a separate situation. They said, let me get the list. DM/calls minors drunk, abusive to his partners, liar, manipulative, blames all his problems on mental illness, but then goes to Twitter for his child fans to hear him be suicidal every night. And also just made super weird jokes with a known child audience. Also apparently has a large history of all this. I'm also not sure on the order of this either, but they also tweeted and said, as the actual victim/minor involved, I want to say one thing. I never said Carl David Hall was grooming me. When I originally went to my friends with my story/concerns, I said I'm not trying to make him seem like a groomer. It was just really weird. Do not twist my words. A day later, they also quoted and said, I'm so lucky to be talking to you guys right now. You guys are really pretty. Apparently said Carl David Hall speaking to a 14 and 19-year-old. Kyle was asked about this in Discord and he responded. Someone said, remember when you were blackout drunk on the phone with a child for hours on end? To which he said, yeah, that was stupid of me. That's something I would never do again. I'm an alcoholic and do not think before calling fans on a Discord group call. I'll continue to hear things I can improve on and I appreciate you bringing that up tonight. Now, in regards to the talking about how pretty the person was, someone responded and said, is there any proof of this? To which someone else chimed in and said, it happened on a call, there is a lot of proof of calls going on between the two. To which a person said, I have screenshots and messages before and after the call. I don't think that they posted them on Twitter, but here is a screenshot from Discord that they posted as the proof of them having the call. Someone wrote in Discord that Kyle apparently made an inappropriate joke. There's no proof of this, but Kyle said, you'll have to give me any insight to add to this as I was indeed blackout, but I do not remember saying that. If anything, it may be referring to my height. This was to do with like seeing a tree and him being tall. That's what he's referring to. But it was alleged that he was referring to something else. As I never, drunk or not, make sexual jokes, especially around viewers, but if that did seem like it or I really did that, it still matters to me that it made them uncomfortable as I never knew that. I'm currently working on my alcoholism and haven't drank like that in a while. I still struggle and allow myself to drink at times, but I'm working through that in therapy right now. To which the same person replied and said, I just hope you believe what's being said, and I can't send screenshots here, but I have screenshots between the person and blank and screenshots from when the person told me when it happened. It was funny at first, but then after they thought about it, they felt so nasty for even being uncomfortable with it because it was supposed to be a joke. Kyle said, absolutely, I'll acknowledge that I've made someone uncomfortable with what I said in that call. That was never my intention and I'm happy I know about it to improve myself moving forward. It's a mistake that shouldn't have been made and I'll make sure to be more mindful in the future. Kyle then wrote some more, and these screenshots are taken from the minor involved who posted them on Twitter with notations about how true they are according to their story. Kyle said, in general, I'm sorry some of you got wrapped into this, and I appreciate the few people who have brought me crucial information to cover. You can pause to read their notations if you want. This is not something I want to cover with people online. Thankfully, this does not take my mind away from caring about the people involved and truly hoping they can be better from the many shitty things I do that therapy can't tackle fast enough. I'm working every day to get better and learn from my mistakes. I want to apologize to the person in the call, party name for privacy, that I've made uncomfortable. I understand and will do better. Just in general as well, I will learn from everything and continue to try and be the best version of myself possible. Someone asked him a bunch of questions. I don't exactly have what the questions are, but this is Kyle's response. From the screenshot you can see that the first question is something along the lines of, why do you make your mental health a borderline responsibility? Then it's so it could be like, of your actions or something like that. Kyle then said, I can only take accountabilities for the wrongs I did. I'm not blaming mental illness. I'm taking my mistakes seriously and giving myself time to learn and grow. And inappropriate jokes have always been how I used to make my public content. It was my humor. I made the mistake of not disconnecting content jokes with group Discord calls in private. That's on me and I should have been able to separate the two. I know that I said that you can pause and read the notations, but I just want to mention that it was Instagram and not Discord, and that's what the screenshot also shows. That's what this person is saying. Kyle then says, unfortunately this isn't a productive conversation. I've responded to acknowledge and own my mistakes and talked about anything that hasn't been true. I again appreciate anyone bringing up genuine concerns. I don't mind a lot of people knowing my mistakes. It doesn't take away that I'm sorry for the two people that had to endure my blackout drunk Discord call. I really care about how that made them feel and I understand and hear them. I'm not sure where the minor stuff came from. Me being drunk is the problem. I never said anything I shouldn't have to any minor, then or ever. I can understand my humor not being appropriate. I didn't say anything I wouldn't say online. It was my mistake not recognizing a phone call, and online content is very different. And last but not least, he said, I was absolutely in the wrong to go off stream and drug group Discord call fans, especially one being a kid. I acknowledged it a few days ago and still stand by it. About calling them both pretty is extremely incorrect. I remember blank asking if that was about them in the call, and I immediately shut that down as that's not something I would ever do or say. I would also never say a racial slur. That is something that did not happen, to which this citation says that is true. And that was it for a bit. It seemed like maybe that was just going to be the end of it, or just going to wait until the initial person, the ex-partner, made their statement. That was until Kyle got doxxed in Discord. There's a message here that says, just check the chat for the first time in a few hours. Who doxed Kyle? That's so fucked. This isn't the only mention of the doxing, by the way, because the day as of recording this, Kyle made another statement, and in it he mentioned it, but I'm going to read the statement. He said, "Hey everyone, I'm disappointed in how far this group has allowed misinformation, hate, doxing and bullying to run rampant through the community. It should not be tolerated. I've made many mistakes, but nothing close to what they are happy seeing be spread and retweeting. This is nothing more than an attempt to take away what they think makes me me, which is my past career and you guys. I made the mistake of getting blackout drunk on livestream and continuing the night in a group call with viewers of the stream on New Year's Day, one of them being a minor. I should have understood how content on a public livestream isn't the same as a private call. I did not know I made a joke that made someone uncomfortable until a past partner I was trying to date in my personal life brought a bunch of minors into a group chat and coerced them into finding an issue to bring public. I do not mind this being public, I just understand that this isn't for an apology or understanding that this could have been done easily through conversation. After hearing how that made them feel, I immediately understood and made sure that it can't happen again. It's not something anyone should expect to go through, and I'm sorry I didn't think before making a decision like that. With that said, the other adult in the call did say without me asking that nothing weird happened in that call, and not even an inappropriate joke. They got bullied and ostracized until they agreed to be against me. Anytime I do acknowledge my mistakes and understand that what I've done is not okay, they respond either with, "It took you that long to type all that," or making fun of my offline real life job that was never made public. Please imagine if that's how I was responding to the accusing against me instead of taking it to the face and acknowledging my wrongs, correcting anything false and taking action to make sure I get better. This is not for an apology or a PSA to watch out for me, this is revenge. My genuine mistakes getting blackout drunk on a group call with fans and one of them being a minor, and not being a stable and good partner during a talking period. Nothing close to what is being spread around. Nothing illegal happened in either situation. Was there things that I need to apologize for in my last talking stage? Absolutely. And we both did IRL/offline and mutually heard and understood each other. Then once I claimed I lost hope we would work, she left me on red for a few days. That's when she started to privately talk to minors in her own words, to make his fans my friends. I will also include my past statements made through Discord below, as I think it may delve deeper if you haven't been made aware of those. I do not want to take legal action if people with real names continue to spread false information. That may be my only choice. So as of recording, that was today. Now there's been a bit of movement in the Discord after that as well. Unfortunately, I didn't get screenshots of everything, because it turns out that during all this, as I was getting screenshots actually, Kyle David Hall deleted his Discord server. But I have 4 last screenshots to share with you. Kyle added the minor that was in the call and said, "The person you support now has footage of her saying the N-word hard R. She was scared it would leak from her friends if she dated me. She can learn and grow, or is that the end of her for you?" He then added the person again and said, "Remember those creepy and inappropriate photoshopped DMs you made of me and posted online, and the very inappropriate drawings you made of me and showed your friends? Can you learn and get better, or is that the end?" A few minutes after this, Kyle mentions the doxing again and says, "People are showing up to my mother's house and calling me." So as of right now, that is what we have. Will there be a statement from the other person? I don't know. As I said towards the start, I think. If there is, there will either be a second video depending on what it is, or there will be a pinned comment about it. Or if it doesn't happen, then there won't be either. Thanks for watching.